Wait, don't skip this. Right now, somewhere in America, someone is cashing in a Kennedy half dollar that looks completely ordinary and losing thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars without even realizing it. Yes, that's right, it's true. The Kennedy half dollar was first struck in 1964 to honor John F. Kennedy, but what most people don't know is that certain years were made in silver, some mint marks were produced in tiny numbers, and a few rare error coins have triggered bidding wars at major auctions. Here's why you need to watch this entire video, because I'm going to show you step-by-step how to check your coins at home in under 60 seconds. No expensive tools, no expert experience required, and the most overlooked, yet potentially valuable Kennedy half dollar is revealed near the end. It's the one that even seasoned collectors sometimes miss. If you leave early, you could miss the exact detail that turns 50 cents into serious money. So stay with me all the way through. Your next coin jar, bankroll, or inherited collection could be hiding something special. If you're in the US and want to make sure you never accidentally spend a valuable coin again, subscribe now, like this video, and let's uncover what your Kennedy half dollars are really worth. Coin number 1. Imagine reaching into your pocket and pulling out a simple half dollar, only to discover it could be worth thousands of dollars to the right collector. Today, we're talking about the 1974 Kennedy half dollar with no mint mark, a coin that many Americans overlook, spend, or ignore, not realizing the hidden potential it may carry. The 1974 Kennedy half dollar was struck during a fascinating period in U.S. coinage history. By this time, the U.S. Mint had already removed silver from regular circulation half dollars. Unlike the 1964 issues that were 90% silver and the 1965 to 1970 coins that contained 40% silver, the 1974 no mint mark half dollar was struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition. That means many collectors assume it has little intrinsic value. But here's where it gets interesting. Value in coin collecting is not just about silver content. It's about condition, rarity, in high grades, strike quality, errors, and demand. When a 1974 Kennedy half dollar has no mint mark, it means it was minted in Philadelphia. During the 1970s, the Philadelphia Mint did not use a P mint mark on half dollars. So every standard 1974 half dollar without a mint mark traces back to Philadelphia production. Millions were struck. In fact, over 200 million were minted. On the surface, that sounds extremely common. But in the world of coin collecting, survival in pristine condition is what truly matters. Most 1974 half dollars entered circulation. They were used in casinos, banks, and everyday transactions. Over time, they developed scratches, bag marks, dull luster, and wear on high points like Kennedy's hair and cheek. Finding one today in average circulated condition usually means it's worth face value. However, the story changes dramatically when we start talking about uncirculated examples, especially those in mint state grades. In mint state condition, graded MS65, MS66, MS67, and beyond, the value begins to climb. Coins with strong luster, sharp strikes, minimal contact marks, and clean surfaces are far scarcer than the mintage numbers suggest. High-grade registry, collectors compete aggressively for the finest known examples. And that competition is what pushes prices upward. One key factor collectors look for is strike quality. The 1974 issue is known for sometimes having weakly struck hair details above Kennedy's ear. A sharply struck coin with bold detail in that area instantly becomes more desirable. Another factor is eye appeal. Bright, original mint luster with no haze, no discoloration, and no heavy abrasions can separate a premium coin from an ordinary one. Now, let's talk about errors, because this is where things get even more exciting. The 1974 no mint mark Kennedy half dollar is known for doubled dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and other mint errors. A genuine doubled die variety can command significant premiums, especially if the doubling is visible on the obverse lettering or date. Collectors actively search through rolls of half dollars, hoping to find one of these overlooked treasures. There are also proof versions of a 1974 Kennedy half dollar. But those were struck in San Francisco and carry an S mint mark. We're focusing strictly on the no mint mark circulation strikes from Philadelphia, the coins that most people ignore. Another major driver of value is grading. Professional grading services encapsulate coins and assign numerical grades. A jump from MS-66 to MS-67 can mean hundreds or even thousands of dollars in difference. And when a coin reaches the very top of the population reports, meaning only a handful exist in that condition, bidding wars can erupt at auction. It's important to understand that modern coins can be deceptively rare in ultra-high grades. Because they were produced in large numbers and handled in bulk, many were never preserved carefully. Bags of coins banged into each other during transport. That's why finding a near-perfect survivor decades later is incredibly challenging. If you have a 1974 Kennedy half-dollar with no mint mark, examine it closely under good lighting. Look at Kennedy's jawline, hair, and the fields around his portrait. Rotate the coin to check for original cartwheel luster. Flip it over and inspect the eagle's feathers on the reverse. Strong feather detail and clean fields are positive signs. Storage matters too. Coins kept in original mint rolls or stored carefully for decades have a much better chance of remaining in high grade. On the other hand, coins tossed into jars or drawers often show contact damage. Demand also plays a role. The Kennedy half-dollar series is one of the most widely collected U.S. coin series. It honors President John F. Kennedy and has strong historical and emotional appeal among American collectors. As registry set competition continues to grow, high-grade coins become even more competitive. Even though millions were minted, very few survive in pristine, nearly flawless condition. That's the paradox of modern coin collecting. Common in quantity, rare in quality. Auction records prove just how dramatic the difference can be between an ordinary coin and an elite example. While most 1974 no mint mark half-dollars are worth only face value in circulation, superb uncirculated specimens can sell for thousands of dollars depending on grade and eye appeal. And here's the part that truly shocks collectors. The highest price ever recorded at auction for a 1974 Kennedy half-dollar with no mint mark reached an incredible $457,000. That's right. A coin many people would casually spend or overlook turned into a life-changing payday because of its extraordinary condition and rarity at the top of the grading scale. It proves that even modern clad coins can become headline-making treasures. So, before you dismiss that 1974 Kennedy half-dollar in your drawer, take a second look. Examine the details. Consider the condition. Because in the world of coin collecting, knowledge is power, and sometimes it's also profit. Coin number 2. What if the next valuable coin in America is hiding in plain sight, maybe even inside your change jar right now? Today, we're talking about the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar with no mint mark, a coin millions of people have seen, but very few truly understand. At first glance, it looks ordinary. It's not silver. It's not old by classic coin standards. And yet, in the right condition, this coin can be extremely valuable. The 1971 Kennedy half-dollar marked an important transition in U.S. coinage history. It was the first year the half-dollar was struck in a full copper-nickel clad composition after the 40% silver issues ended in 1970. Because of that, many collectors overlook it, assuming that without silver content, it can't possibly be worth much. But in coin collecting, value is not only about metal, it's about rarity in condition, demand, and exceptional quality. When your 1971 Kennedy half-dollar has no mint mark, that means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. In 1971, Philadelphia did not place a P mint mark on half-dollars, so every standard 1971 half-dollar without a mint mark originated there. The total mintage was large, over 150 million coins. On paper, that sounds incredibly common. But numbers alone don't tell the full story. Most 1971 half-dollars entered circulation immediately. They were used in banks, vending machines, casinos, and everyday transactions across the United States. Because half dollars were already declining in everyday use by the early 1970s, many were stored loosely in bags and vaults. Unfortunately, that storage caused heavy contact marks and surface abrasions. As a result, finding a truly pristine example today is much harder than the mintage suggests. In circulated condition, a 1971 no mint mark Kennedy half dollar is typically worth face value, 50 cents. But once you enter mint state grades, especially MS65 and above, the value starts to climb. Collectors seek coins with strong original mint luster, minimal bag marks, sharp details in Kennedy's hair, and clean fields free of distracting scratches. One of the biggest challenges with the 1971 issue is strike quality. Many examples show weakness in the hair above Kennedy's ear and around the ear itself. The reverse, featuring the heraldic eagle, can also show softness in the feather detail. A sharply struck coin with bold definition immediately stands out to collectors and grading services. Another factor that dramatically affects value is eye appeal. Coins with blazing luster and smooth, unblemished surfaces command premiums. Even small differences in condition can mean major price differences. A coin graded MS66 might sell for a modest premium, but an MS67, if available, could bring thousands of dollars due to scarcity at that level. Professional grading services play a huge role in determining value. Coins are evaluated under magnification and assigned numerical grades on a 70-point scale. The higher the grade, the fewer examples exist. Registry set collectors compete for the highest graded coins, and that competition drives prices higher. Now let's talk about mint errors, because this is where things become even more exciting. The 1971 Kennedy half dollar with no mint mark is known for certain double die varieties, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and other production anomalies. A strong double die, showing visible doubling in the date or lettering, can significantly increase the coin's value. Collectors actively search bankrolls, hoping to find these rare varieties hiding in plain sight. Another important distinction: proof coins from 1971 were struck in San Francisco and carry an S mint mark. Those are different from the no mint mark Philadelphia circulation strikes we're discussing. The coin you want to look for in your pocket change is the standard circulation strike with no mint mark and exceptional preservation. Because 1971 was the first year of the fully clad composition, many coins were handled heavily during production and distribution. Bags of coins were transported in bulk, allowing them to collide and create contact marks. That's why truly high-end survivors are scarce. Even though millions were made, very few were preserved in near-perfect condition from day one. If you have a 1971 Kennedy half dollar with no mint mark, inspect it carefully under bright light. Tilt the coin and look for strong cartwheel luster, that spinning light effect across the surface. Check Kennedy's cheek and jaw for marks. Examine the fields for scratches. Then flip the coin over and study the eagle's wings and breast feathers. Sharp detail is a strong indicator of quality. Storage plays a major role in long-term value. Coins that remain sealed in original bankrolls or carefully stored in protective holders are far more likely to achieve high grades. Coins left loose in drawers or coin jars typically show wear and abrasions that reduce their collectible value. The Kennedy half dollar series remains one of the most popular coin series in the United States. It carries historical significance, honoring President John F. Kennedy, and continues to attract collectors of all experience levels. As more collectors build registry-quality sets, competition for the finest known examples intensifies. The fascinating part about modern coins like the 1971 no mint mark half dollar is that rarity is defined by condition, not mintage. While average coins are common, elite high-grade specimens are extremely scarce. That scarcity fuels auction excitement. Auction results have proven that top-tier examples can bring astonishing prices. While most 1971 half dollars are spent without a second thought, the rarest high-grade examples have shocked the market when they cross the auction block. In fact, the highest price ever recorded at auction for a 1971 Kennedy half dollar with no mint mark reached an incredible $265,000. That number alone should make you pause before spending one. A coin that appears completely ordinary at first glance can become extraordinarily valuable if it survives in exceptional condition. It only takes one near-perfect example to change everything. So, the next time you come across a 1971 Kennedy half-dollar with no mint mark, don't dismiss it. Take a closer look. Examine the details. Because in the world of coin collecting, small differences mean big money, and your 50-cent coin could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Coin number 3, what if a coin from the 1980s, something that doesn't even look old, could actually be worth serious money? Today, we're taking a deep dive into the 1984 Kennedy half-dollar with the D mint mark, a modern U.S. coin that many people overlook, but collectors quietly search for. If you have one of these sitting in a drawer, coin jar, or old bankroll, you'll want to pay very close attention. The 1984 Kennedy half-dollar, with a D mint mark, was struck at the Denver Mint. By this time, half-dollars were no longer widely used in everyday circulation. Unlike quarters and dimes, half-dollars had become less common in daily transactions. That limited circulation created an interesting dynamic. Large numbers were produced, but many were stored in Federal Reserve vaults or bankrolls rather than heavily circulated. The 1984 D was struck in copper-nickel-clad composition, not silver. Because it doesn't contain precious metal, many people assume it cannot be valuable. But in modern coin collecting, rarity is often defined by condition, not metal content. And that's exactly where the 1984 D becomes interesting. Over 100 million 1984 D. Kennedy half-dollars were minted. On paper, that sounds extremely common, but most of these coins were never carefully preserved. They were stacked in bags, transported in bulk, and often developed contact marks during handling. Those small abrasions and nicks dramatically reduce the number of coins that qualify for high mint state grades today. In circulated condition, a 1984 D half-dollar is typically worth face value, 50 cents. But when we start talking about uncirculated coins graded MS65, MS66, or higher, the value begins to rise. Coins with blazing mint luster, minimal bag marks, sharp strike details, and exceptional eye appeal can command significant premiums. Strike quality is one of the key factors for this issue. Collectors examine Kennedy's hair above the ear, the jawline, and the cheek for clarity and sharpness. Weak strikes are common in modern half-dollars, so a sharply struck example stands out. On the reverse, the heraldic eagle's feathers and shield lines should appear crisp and well-defined. Any softness reduces desirability at higher grades. Another important factor is surface preservation. The large size of the half-dollar makes it more prone to showing marks. Even small contact marks on Kennedy's cheek can prevent a coin from achieving a top-tier grade. That's why true gem examples are far scarcer than the mintage suggests. Professional grading services use a 70-point scale to evaluate coins. The difference between MS66 and MS67 can mean thousands of dollars. Registry set collectors compete for the highest graded coins known, and when population reports show only a few coins at the very top, demand intensifies quickly. Modern coins like the 1984 D often surprise collectors because so few were saved in pristine condition from the moment of minting. While millions were made, very few were preserved with the foresight that they might one day be valuable. There are also mint errors to consider. The 1984 D. Kennedy half-dollar can be found with off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, and other striking anomalies. A dramatic mint error can significantly increase the coin's value, especially if the error is bold and easily visible. Collectors love unique pieces that tell the story of the minting process. It's also important to distinguish circulation strikes from proof coins. Proof Kennedy half-dollars from 1984 were struck in San Francisco and carry an S mint mark. Those proof coins are different from the Denver minted 1984 D circulation issues we're discussing here. If you own a 1984 D. Kennedy half-dollar, examine it carefully under bright light. Tilt it slowly to observe the cartwheel luster, that radiant spinning effect across the surface. Check for dullness, hairlines, or heavy bag marks. Inspect the rim to ensure it's sharp and free from damage. Every small detail matters when determining value. Storage history plays a huge role in survival. Coins stored in original mint rolls, unopened bank bags, or protective holders have a much higher chance of achieving top grades. Coins tossed loosely into drawers often show the kinds of surface marks that prevent them from reaching elite levels. The Kennedy half-dollar series remains highly collectible in the United States. It honors President John F. Kennedy and carries strong historical and patriotic significance. Many collectors attempt to build complete date and mint sets in the highest grades possible. That competitive environment drives strong demand for the finest known examples. The fascinating reality is that modern clad coins can become condition rarities. Even though they are not old and not silver, their scarcity in superb condition can make them incredibly valuable. It's not about age, it's about survival and grade. Auction records have demonstrated that the best examples of the 1984 D. Kennedy half-dollar can command astonishing prices. While average coins trade for face value, elite high-grade specimens can bring thousands, sometimes far more, depending on market demand and certification. And here's the part that truly captures attention. The highest price ever recorded at auction for a 1984 D. Kennedy half-dollar reached an incredible $197,000. That's right, a coin many people would casually overlook turned into a six-figure collectible simply because it survived in extraordinary condition. It proves that even modern coins from the 1980s can become headline-making treasures under the right circumstances. So, before you spend that 1984 Kennedy half-dollar with a D mint mark, take a closer look. Examine the details. Consider the condition. Because in coin collecting, knowledge transforms ordinary pocket change into potential opportunity, and your next discovery could be worth far more than 50 cents. Coin number 4. What if a coin from 1979, something many Americans still overlook, could quietly be worth a small fortune? Today we're taking an in-depth look at the 1979 Kennedy half-dollar with no mint mark, a modern U.S. coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, but in the right condition can become extremely valuable. The 1979 no mint mark Kennedy half-dollar was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. During that time, Philadelphia did not use a P mint mark on half-dollars, so the absence of a mint mark confirms its origin. Over 68 million examples were minted that year. On paper, that sounds common, but mintage numbers alone do not determine value in coin collecting. What truly matters is survival rate in high grade. By the late 1970s, half-dollars were no longer widely used in daily commerce. They circulated far less than quarters and dimes. Many 1979 half-dollars were stored in Federal Reserve vaults or shipped in large canvas mint bags. Inside those bags, coins collided with one another, creating contact marks and abrasions. Because of that, pristine examples are much harder to find than the original production numbers suggest. In circulated condition, most 1979 Kennedy half-dollars without a mint mark are worth face value, just 50 cents. Light wear on Kennedy's cheek jawline and hair is common. The reverse eagle often shows flattened feather detail from circulation. These worn examples are plentiful and typically do not carry premiums. However, once we move into uncirculated mint state grades, everything changes. Coins graded MS65 or better begin to show strong collector demand. An MS65 coin should display bright, cartwheel luster, minimal contact marks, and solid strike quality. As the grade climbs to MS66 and MS67, the coin must exhibit even cleaner surfaces, sharper details, and superior eye appeal. One of the biggest challenges for the 1979 issue is strike sharpness. Many examples show weakness in Kennedy's hair above the ear and around the ear itself. A sharply struck coin with bold hair strands and strong detail immediately stands out. On the reverse, collectors carefully inspect the eagle's breast feathers and shield lines. Weakly struck feathers can limit the grade significantly. Surface preservation is equally important. Because the half-dollar is a large coin, its wide, open fields easily show bag marks. Kennedy's cheek is a prime focal point for graders. Even a few small nicks in this area can prevent a coin from achieving a top-tier grade. That's why true gem-quality 1979 no mint mark half dollars are far scarcer than people expect. Luster is another key factor. When you tilt a high-grade example under light, you should see a vibrant cartwheel effect moving across the surface. This spinning light reflection indicates original mint brilliance. Dull or muted luster may signal friction or improper storage. Professional grading services evaluate coins on a 70-point scale. The difference between MS66 and MS67 might appear minor, but in market value it can be dramatic. Population reports often show very few coins surviving at the highest levels. Registry set collectors, those competing to build the finest sets possible, aggressively pursue these top-grade examples. When supply is extremely limited, prices can skyrocket. Modern clad coins like the 1979 issue are often underestimated because they lack silver content. But scarcity in ultra-high grade creates its own rarity. While millions were struck, very few were preserved perfectly from day one. Most collectors in 1979 were not saving rolls of clad half dollars with long-term investment in mind. That oversight is what makes today's finest examples so desirable. There are also mint era varieties to consider. The 1979 no mint mark Kennedy half dollar has been discovered with double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and die cracks. A strong double die with clear separation in the lettering or date can dramatically increase value. Error coins attract a dedicated segment of collectors willing to pay premiums for unique pieces. It's important to distinguish these Philadelphia circulation strikes from proof coins struck in San Francisco. Proof 1979 Kennedy half dollars carry an S mint mark and have mirror-like surfaces. They are a separate category from the no mint mark coins we're discussing here. If you own a 1979 Kennedy half dollar with no mint mark, examine it carefully. Use bright lighting and magnification. Look for minimal marks on Kennedy's cheek and jaw. Check the rims for sharpness. Rotate the coin slowly to evaluate luster. Then flip it over and inspect the eagle's wings and shield. Every small detail matters. Storage conditions play a huge role in long-term value. Coins stored in original bankrolls or protective holders stand a much better chance of achieving high grades. Coins left loose in jars or drawers often show contact damage that permanently limits their potential. The Kennedy half dollar series continues to hold strong appeal among American collectors. It honors President John F. Kennedy and represents an important chapter in U.S. history. Many collectors build complete date and mint sets, and competitive registry collectors push demand even higher for the finest certified examples. Auction records clearly demonstrate the power of condition rarity. While average 1979 no mint mark half dollars trade for face value, elite high-grade specimens certified at the very top of the grading scale have achieved astonishing results. In fact, the highest price ever recorded at auction for a 1979 Kennedy half dollar with no mint mark reached an incredible $175,000. That figure proves a powerful point. A coin that appears ordinary, something most people would overlook, can become extraordinarily valuable if it survives in near-perfect condition. The difference between common and rare is often just a matter of grade. So, before you spend that 1979 Kennedy half dollar with no mint mark, take a closer look. Inspect the strike. Evaluate the luster. Protect it properly. Because in the world of coin collecting, knowledge transforms pocket change into opportunity, and your next discovery could be far more valuable than you ever imagined. And this is exactly why you should never underestimate a simple half dollar. From the 1971 to the 1974, from the 1979 to 1984, these Kennedy half dollar coins prove one powerful truth. Value is hidden in condition details and the smallest minting differences. What looks like ordinary pocket change could actually be a collector's dream waiting to be discovered. Think about it. How many of these coins have passed through your hands? How many are sitting right now in jars, drawers, bankrolls, or old collections across America? The difference between 50 cents and thousands sometimes even six figures, can come down to one tiny detail most people never notice. That's why knowledge is your greatest advantage. If you found this video helpful, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now so you never miss another valuable coin alert. Hit that like button to support the channel, share this video with friends and family who might have hidden treasures at home, and drop a comment below telling me which coin you want me to cover next. And don't stop here. Go watch my previous video on presidential $1 coin right now. Because those coins have shock collectors with surprising values, and you do not want to miss something valuable sitting in your own collection. Remember, the next life-changing discovery might already be in your hands.